Okay, today let's talk about sales, right? Sales, and there's lots of sayings or cliches about salespeople, and we'll write those in red because they're the power sales. They're the power sayings. They say salespeople keep the lights on. And nothing happens until something gets sold, right? And what do salespeople do? They bring the money, the revenue. Ooh, this looks Christmassy, doesn't it? Let's see if we can get away from the Christmassy. Okay, so salespeople keep the lights on, right? They keep the lights on. They make the money come into the business. They bring the cash. Nothing happens until something gets sold, right? These are all really important things, and these are what salespeople say to themselves and others, and to a large extent it's true. Unless I can sell my product or service, I really don't have much of a business now, do I? Because I won't have any income to either support myself or the business or product development or marketing or a bunch of other things that salespeople rarely do. So what I want to do today is I want to walk through the sales process, sort of a current version of the sales process. And the way the sales process works these days is it's broken down into eight different steps or facets. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So basically the 8-step process of running sales starts with a new opportunity, right? And so if you were to graph it, you would say, whoa, we got a lot of new opportunities out there. New opportunities are prospects, the size of your market, anybody who might be interested in buying or leasing or using the service that you have to offer, and that's new opportunities. And from those new opportunities, that's like the whole size of your market. From the whole size of your market, what you want to do is you want to see, you want to try to contact as many of them as you can, right? And so we're going to call that initial communication. So from the great big size of my market, I'm going to go and then communicate with some people, right? And of all the people that I go try to communicate with, I'm actually going to manage to do that with a number of people. And when I get to that point, when I do communicate with those people, I'm going to do some qualifying or some fact finding. I'm going to learn some things about these opportunities that I have now communicated with. So I'm going to do some fact finding. I'm going to learn, does my solution actually fit what the client wants? Does my client have the money to pay for my solution or my product? Are there options that we could talk about, and am I helping guide that prospect towards the right things for them? And am I doing it in a way that's that's sort of both ethical and smart? And by the way, in my view, ethical and smart are almost always the same thing. Well, maybe at some point we can talk about the practicality of doing the wrong thing, and I always find that doing the wrong thing is rarely practical. So even if you're not a good guy, it's usually a good idea to be one. Act like one. Here's the next piece of our puzzle, which is after our fact finding, we know what we have, we know what the client wants, and then what we do is we go to develop a solution. I think you need this kind of phone system with these kinds of phones and this kind of phone service and this many phones, and here's how the extension should work and here's how it should ring, all of those sorts of things. And so I develop a solution in-house. I talk with myself or my partners, or I do some research and I figure out just what exactly the right piece of the thing is. And then once I do that, we go to the next stage in the process, which is the proposal. proposal. Will you buy my thing from me? That's the big question that we ask in the proposal, popping the question, as it were. And then from our proposal, we sit down with the client and we do a SOLUTION solution evaluation. And a solution evaluation of the people that we send a proposal to, some of them will say, nah, not so much, and others will say, yeah, well, let's sit down and talk about that. And so you always want to sit down and go over the proposal with your client when you're done. And then once your client figures out that, yes, this is indeed the thing that I'm interested in, the next thing the client is going to want to know is, how much does it cost? And that'll be contained in your proposal to some extent, but there will be some negotiation that goes on. So you're going to have to negotiate based on the solution evaluation and the proposal and the solution you developed and the facts that you know and the communication that you've done with this, what used to be a brand new opportunity. And then if it all goes swimmingly, the last thing will be the purchase. Woohoo! Yay, they bought my thing. I'm so happy. Right? So that's the purchase. And a smaller number of people you negotiate with will purchase, but some of them will purchase if you're doing it right. And if you're not doing it right, you need to study up and figure out how to do it better. And then the ongoing part that few salespeople are really awesome at but still needs to be done is the ACCOU account maintenance, right? And that's the smallest piece, right? So again, just to review really, really quick, we've just been through it. There is a giant market with new opportunity out there. There's lots and lots of people out there who might be a fit for our product or service. And of all of those people, we try to communicate with as many of them as we can, and we succeed in communicating with a number of them, which is usually smaller than the total of all that there are. Then we do our fact finding. We learn about the client. We develop a solution. What do we have that will work for them? And then we propose that which we think will work for the client. We and they evaluate the solution. We negotiate. Ooh, I used the wrong color. We negotiate with the client, price, terms, delivery dates, whatever those things are. We get a purchase order. They actually buy the thing. And then the very last step in the process, but it is part of the process and it goes on forever, is account maintenance, right? We don't ever want that client to leave, because part of the account maintenance might help us to identify more opportunities within that same client. So if I sell the client a phone system and I also happen to sell computer systems, I might find out at some point while I am maintaining the phone system that the client also needs computers or a firewall or internet service or some other thing that perhaps I do. And that's actually one of the reasons that that at Pemble.com we do so many different things, is because we're interested in lots of things and we've got a lot of skills, but also we know that our client is running a whole business here. He's got all of those different kinds of things to do. And so what we want to do is not just go out and recognize an opportunity for a new opportunity every single time, because if we do, from this account maintenance standpoint, if we're down here and we do discover, hey, so-and-so needs a new firewall, we can shortcut some of these things and say, hey, you know what? We already know this opportunity because we're in the building. We know they need a firewall. We're kind of pals with them. We treat them well. They like us. We've had all the initial communication. We know a lot of facts about their business already. We can kind of develop the solution while we're in the process of maintaining the solution we've already delivered. The proposal in this case might be less formal. We wouldn't skip the step, but the proposal might be less formal because we have a relationship there. And the solution evaluation can also be less formal and more relaxed. Negotiation will be easier because we already know this client and who they are and what their tolerance for expense and what their value of our product or service might happen to be. And then the purchase is also easy because they're already in the habit of purchasing things from us, and then we continue to maintain those things. And so this is not just a sales cycle, but it can also be something of a customer relationship management or a CRM cycle as well. One of the important things in this process to remember is that you must not skip any of the steps. If I recognize an opportunity, say, for a phone system, and then I do the initial communication and I get kind of the information I want, and in my fact-finding, if I'm not doing my job as a salesperson right, and I skip some steps, and I either ignore information that might get in the way of me closing the deal, or if I fail to ask questions that might expose weaknesses in the deal, reasons not to make this deal, the solution I develop will be flawed. If I don't have all of the facts, my solution can't be as good as it needs to be. And then my proposal will be based on bad facts and a bad solution. And the evaluation that the client does or that the prospect does of my bad proposal based on a bad solution, based on bad facts, based on sloppy communication, based on misidentifying the opportunity, the evaluation that the client does, they're not going to be able to make an informed decision because they haven't gotten all the right information. And the negotiation will therefore be skewed because we won't be making informed decisions. It'll be more, based on sort of likability and whistling past the graveyard and hoping for the best. When the client purchases it, we can maybe say, woohoo, we got the money, but then this account maintenance part will absolutely come apart at the seams. And when the account maintenance part comes apart because we don't have because we haven't done the sales correctly, the problem that we're going to be faced with is that we will short-circuit our ability to have new opportunities come out of the same business, which means we have to go and find a new client every time because we're not doing right by the existing clients every time. So there isn't much that's more important than not skipping the steps when you go through this sales process. It's crucially important, and your salespeople need to demonstrate real discipline, and they need to look for reasons that it shouldn't work. One of the jokes that you say is, if a deal is like falling in love, if it's meant to be, there's nothing you can do to stop it, and if it's not meant to be, there's nothing you can do to make it come true. So don't cause yourself troubles by pretending that some of these things are okay when they're really not. Have the corporate discipline and the courage to stop this process if in your fact-finding or in your solution development or if any of these processes, any of these steps rather, if you find that it's not right for you or not right for the client, don't force it, because the account maintenance part will fall apart, and whatever money you make during the purchase, you will spend that and more trying to maintain a bad sales relationship. So do this stuff, do it thoughtfully, do it carefully, and you will sell lots and lots of your product and service.